Welcome to A Deadly Silence. I'm your host, Larry Curtis, and today's episode is dedicated in the memory of Liz Lafort, who lost her life to heroin addiction this past January at the age of 23. Today's episodes will consist of 3 parts. First, we will be talking with family members of Liz Lafort. Then we will be interviewing Brockton police officer Nancy Leedberg regarding the nationally known program, Not My Kid. And then we will have a panel of concerned parents with follow-up questions for Officer Leedberg regarding the Not My Kid program. At this time, I would like to introduce Jan McGrory and Amy Lafort, mother and sister of Liz Lafort. Jan, Amy, welcome to our program.
Thank you. Hey, thanks.
Pleasure to have you here, and on behalf of all of us here at Deadly Silence, we would like to extend our condolences, obviously, to the loss of Liz and this terrible addiction that has taken a lot of people throughout the city of Brockton as well as the South Shore. What I'd like to start off with, Jan, is if you could maybe tell us a little bit about Liz and what she was like. What was she like growing up, so to speak? Kind of give our viewers a flavor.
Well, Liz was she was my buddy. She was loving, kind, very thoughtful. She was very involved in sports going through school. She had a lot of great friends. She's just like probably, most of our kids, just a pleasure, typical, teenage kid, young kid, just a lot of fun to be around, very thoughtful, playful, and a joy.
And was academics, sports, things of that nature? I mean, was she involved in those?
She was an honor student. She graduated 10th in her class. She had scholarships to college. She was a cheerleader, basketball player, soccer player in her youth.
So in some instances, really an exceptional young lady who had the world at her calling, basically speaking. Wow. When did you first kind of notice a change in her behavior that kind of may have drew some concerns as to something was happening? Yep.
The change began when she was a freshman, sophomore in high school. She quit cheerleading. Her group of friends changed. The girls that she used to hang around with, her best friends all through grammar school, she no longer stayed with them or hung out with them. She just got a new group of friends. And she seemed to distance herself from the normal things that she would do with family outings and whatnot.
So this was kind of around the time that she was leaving middle school, entering into high school, and kind of the pendulum shifted and her interest wasn't there in the academics, the sports that she was excelling in?
Her academics remained high.
Okay.
She was always on honor roll, which is very surprising.
So that was kind of a smokescreen, maybe, to what might have been happening. Not realizing what's going on in that regard.
And you think it is just part of adolescence that she is going through
a phase,
and she's not as nice as she used to be, and so you grant them a little leeway in their behavior because you just don't think it's going to.
And Amy, what about you? When did you feel that you recognized something? You're an older sister by a few years. Yeah. So when did you feel that you saw a change happening in Liz's behavior?
Sort of, when Mom did. I guess I was closer to her, and I wasn't her parent. Yeah, right. So she would sort of let me in on things, but her friends did start to change. I think her junior year, she really started drifting away from sort of these very tight-knit group of girls and started hanging out with other kids who I knew their reputation, so I wasn't, thrilled about that. She was just different.
Did she, I'm the second oldest of 11 children, so I confide in some of my brothers at times, was there any confidence that you...
Definitely she would tell me about, drinking. I knew she was really heavily into drinking, sort of partying. She was one of the cool kids. It was sort of a weekend recreational activity. I didn't really think anything of it. I didn't know when she started really, really getting heavily into drugs until one of her friends came and told me.
So she was able to conceal that type of behavior and addiction because of the exemplary student that she was, and so forth. What type of impact did the addiction have on your relationship and those of her friends as she began to, the pendulum shift, so to speak?
It was hard in every way you can imagine. It sort of runs the emotional gamut. It was, painful and sadness and frustrating, and it made you angry, and you just wanted to help her as much as you could, but you didn't know what to do. Her friends sort of just went on with their own lives, and she was in rehabs and recovery programs and sober houses, so she lost all of those good friends.
Lost all the friends that were, positive influences on her.
Absolutely.
And, you talk about, helping her and everything, and one of the things that families are confronted when they believe they're helping an addict and may not even realize it is they're almost enabling the addict. What kind of experience did you, it's like playing Monday night quarterback. What can you look back on and share with the audience and say what you did that was enabling versus helping?
Well, she was always had sort of a story, and she was always so honest that we didn't even hesitate to believe her. I feel like some of the time.
She was a very trustworthy child, and so you did believe all the stories that when she cracked up the car, well, it was just a mistake, and it was because she was high, in hindsight. So she could justify all of her actions, and we believed her.
Wow.
Because we wanted to.
Well.
And honestly, I did not know what addiction was. I did not know she was experimenting with drugs until she was a junior.
And we didn't know what that meant and what this road was going to be like.
If you had one thing that you wanted to share with our audience, what would you like to say to the parents as a mother of an addict? You lost your daughter, obviously. It has to be very painful.
I would say to parents that you know your child, you know when things are off. Trust your instincts. Do not deny yourself the instincts that we as parents have. And our children are our responsibility. So if they want to whine, if they want to say, well, Mom, you're not trusting me, I would never do that, don't believe them. You need to trust your instincts. You know your child.
Parental gut instinct is probably right 99% of the time.
And it is.
And don't ignore it.
Do not
force
ignore
the
it.
issue.
If one thing I would say would be to be, if you think they're playing with drugs, they are.
Okay. And Amy, as a sister, what would you say to the siblings out there, if you had a chance?
That it all seems so innocent when you're young. She was drinking, and okay, she was doing that. I sort of was just like chalked it up to what it was. But if you see them going down the wrong path, then you need to help them. You need to go to a parent or a friend or somebody you trust and say, this is going on in my sister or brother's life, and something needs to be done about it, because you can save them.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for appearing with us today on our show. And again, our condolences to the loss of Liz. And I'm sure this message will be very, very helpful to many of the families and siblings out there as we move forward with our program of Deadly Silence. We'll take a break here and we'll be right back.
This poem is called Take Me in Your Arms. So now, little girl, you've grown tired of grass, LSD, goofballs, cocaine, and hash. And someone pretending to be a true friend said, I'll introduce you to Miss Heroin. Well, honey, before you start fooling with me, just let me inform you of how it will be. For I will seduce you and make you my slave. I've sent girls much stronger than you to their graves. You think you could never become a disgrace and end up addicted to poppy seed waste. So you'll start inhaling me one afternoon, and you'll take me in your arms so very soon. And once I've entered deep down in your veins, the craving will nearly drive you insane. You'll swindle your mother, and just for a buck, you'll turn into something vile and corrupt. You'll mug and you'll steal for my narcotic charm, and you'll feel contentment when I flow through your arm. The day when you realize the monster you've grown, you'll solemnly swear to leave me alone. If you think you've got that mystical knack, then sweetie, just trying to get me off your back. The vomit, the cramps, your gut tied in knots, the jangling nerves screaming for just one more shot. The hot chills, the cold sweats, withdrawal pains can only be saved by my white little grains. There's no other way, so there's no need to look, for deep down inside, you'll know that you're hooked. You'll desperately run to the pushers and then you'll welcome me back into your arms once again. And you will return just as I foretold. I know that you'll give me your body and your soul. You'll give up your morals, your conscience, and your heart, and you will be mine till death do us part.
Welcome back to A Deadly Silence. I'm your host, Larry Curtis, and our second guest this afternoon is Officer Nancy Leedberg of the Brockton Police Community Education. Nancy, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you here. Nancy, I understand that as a member of the Brockton Police Department that you are a liaison to a program called Not My Kid,
Yes.
which is a national program.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that program, please?
Sure. About 3 years ago, I went to a conference for the Mass Juvenile Police Officer Association, and one of the workshops was Not My Kid. So my partner and I went to the program and immediately fell in love with it because of the information and the current trends that it brings to parents and families looking for more information.
Was this a program that the Brockton Police Department was looking to bring into the city as a result of the wasted youth programs issues that were coming on, or was this just part of the community development issues?
Yes and no. I mean, it was part of the conference, which is the Mass chapter of NASRO, which is National Association of School Resource Officers. So we are constantly looking for new programming anyway, and this just kind of fell in line, the perfect time, and the perfect amount of education for parents.
Okay. And what's the program about, basically?
It's a two-part program. The first is giving the information to the parents, the current trends, what to look for, some factual stuff about how long kids can hide drug use from their parents. And then the second part is the distribution of a free home drug test kit.
So these are kits that would be available through the program if parents wanted to participate?
Yes.
Where were these programs held, basically?
Generally, we try to tie them to middle schools. Last year, we trained 6 out of the 8 middle schools in Brockton, and this year we're looking to do all 8.
So it's a repetitive annual type of
Yes.
a thing because the children continuously
Yes.
progress up through the
Yes. Ideally incoming
Okay.
6th grade parents
Right,
would
yeah.
attend.
I understand one of the pieces of information that was shared is that, according to the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy, that significant parental involvement is the most important factor in deterring young people from using drugs.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that for us a little bit?
Sure. That's actually the good news for parents, is that significant parental involvement is still the most important thing that you can do. It's about talking to your child, it's about drug testing your child, it's about searching their room, searching their car if they have one. It's about sitting down to dinner more than 3 times in a week, but being significantly involved in your kids' lives.
What do you say to the parent who might be a bit more liberal and say, well, that's an invasion of my child's privacy? How do you address that issue?
Well, you are ultimately responsible for your child upwards to the age of 18, and even then through college if they're still living at home and things like that. So I always tell even the most liberal parents that searching your kid's room is a lot cheaper than rehab.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And the consequences of those actions, whether it be juvenile delinquency or,
Absolutely.
As we see today, that particularly as, young high school children, high school students don't realize that if they become involved in this type of activity and they end up resulting in some form of an arrest or a criminal record, even as a juvenile, that could affect their lives further down the run in Corey reports and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
It's one of the tough risks that they don't understand at that early age. For
Well,
sure.
and the addiction component where their brains aren't fully formed until 22, 23. So they're doing something at 13 or 14-year-olds that's going to affect them the rest of their lives.
Exactly. What do you say, what type of drugs do you think the kids are being exposed to out there at kind of the entry, level of
It's still, the same drugs that's been around for 100 years. They start with tobacco or marijuana, and then they progress to more. Although the family that you met earlier, her gateway was not marijuana.
Okay.
She started with that.
Is alcohol a part of this program, or
Sure, it can be.
So alcohol can be part of the program in addition to
the
just
addiction
the
spectrum.
addiction spectrum as well. Okay. What are the current trends that you see out there in the drug use today?
Well, that's one of the first parts of Not My Kid. We talk about stuff that is prevalent now, at least on the internet, the K2, the spice, the bath salts, salvia. If they come to the workshop, they can get more information on what's up and coming.
And these workshops you had mentioned earlier, that really kind of target and focus toward the middle school age. So what's that age group that we're really trying to capture right now?
Well, middle school is 6, 7, and 8, but we do ideally would like to see the parents, when their kids are entering 6th grade, that they do attend the Not My Kid workshop and get the information.
And how long has this program been around now? For
3 years.
For about 3 years.
Trained over 500 parents.
Over 500 parents here in the city. Well, that's tremendous.
Yeah.
And congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
Is this a granted program, or is this
Yes
at risk?
and no.
At risk.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
The boys in the back room, who's a girl, they do a lot of work trying to get money for the drug test kits, because it is a $40 drug test kit if you were to buy it at CVS or Walgreens or Costco. Okay.
So this is a drug test kit that, by coming to the orientation or the seminar that you're giving to the parents, that the parent can take back with them.
Yes.
You know, and that in itself potentially becomes a major deterrent.
Sure.
If mommy has a drug kit on the kitchen shelf.
We like to call it the absolute out for the kids and the peer pressure. That if they're asked by their friends, hey, do you want to do this or that, they can say, I can't because I'm drug tested at home. And then they have the drug test kit sitting on the mantle when they leave the house, and the friends go, yeah, you weren't kidding.
That's terrific. We've got about a minute and a half left here, and is there a website that the parents can look at,
Yes.
or how would they contact you?
We try to keep BrocktonPolice.com updated, and there's also a Facebook page, Brockton Police Community Education, to see when the next training is. It dies down a little over the summer because kids are out of school, but we just had a training at the Cape Verdean Association in Creole, which was great, and another one in June at the Y, which was phenomenal.
So this program can be a multi-bilingual program. It has to be in order to reach the diversity that we have here in the city of Brockton.
And if people are interested in hosting a Not My Kid, they can email me, Nancy@BrocktonPolice.com, and say they're interested in setting up a training. So all you really need is 10 or 15 parents together.
So church organizations, sports youth organizations,
Boy Scouts,
Boy Scouts, things of that nature. They could contact you at Boston Police Community Education.
Brockton,
excuse me, Boston Boy.
We'll
yes,
edit
apologize for that. Brockton Police Community Education, and have you come and speak as a speaker to one of their. That's fantastic. If you had one message to give to parents out there, what would it be in relationship to the Not My Kid program today?
It's not an intervention program, it's a prevention program.